What we didn't tell you about is that when we were working on the show, we discovered actually a member of our staff on the show is dating a real McCoy. And his mom, Carol McCoy, is here today. Carol, where are you? Hey, Carol, how are you? So Carol, what is it? You kept your maiden name, McCoy. What does it mean for you to be part of this legendary family?
It means a lot. I've always been a real McCoy. I ran as a real McCoy, and
You ran for a judge. You're
yes,
a judge.
I'm a chancellor.
A chancellor. And that was your slogan, a real McCoy?
It is, and it was, and it will be.
And it will be. Did growing up, you always knew the family history?
I did always know the family history, but my father left the Hills. He was one of 9 children, and he became a pilot in the Air Force.
Well, we wanted to be balanced on the show. We didn't want Kevin to be the only representative of the Hatfield family, and we didn't actually want to tell you because we didn't know if you'd be okay with it. So we have a member of the Hatfield family here as well. In fact, sitting right across from the aisle from you is Linda Hatfield Van Meter.
How are you?
Linda, thanks very much for being with us. Linda, we have a picture of you, I think, as a child in a dance class. Were you kind of made fun of as a Hatfield? Kevin was talking about, kind of people poking fun at this family.
When I walked into a dance class when I was about 8, a young lady whose name was Carol McCoy, incidentally.
Oh, really? Okay.
Came up to me and said, "Oh, you're a Hatfield?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, I'm a McCoy." Fortunately, the dance class started before anything erupted.
It sounds like an episode of Dance Moms or something. So the Tug Valley Chamber of Commerce heard you were going to be on the program today, and they wanted to thank you for working on this project, Kevin. And they actually wanted us to present you with this, which is a statue of Anne Hatfield.
Thank you.
We have this odd connection you don't even know about, which is in the movie Dances with Wolves, there's a scene where you are riding a horse and you kind of let the reins go and you have your arms stretch out. We have a photo of it. For some reason, I have always visualized that scene whenever I'm in like a dangerous place. This is the weirdest thing. Whenever I'm in a dangerous place or like careening down a road going into Sarajevo during the war in Sarajevo, and found myself in a situation beyond my control, I've literally visualized that scene and found it kind of not relaxing, but freeing in a weird way.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you?
It does. I think at that moment he just surrendered, and not in a way that we would associate surrender with somebody who is like either cowardly, but his life at that point he just let go. And I think a lot of us would just like to let go sometimes.
Yeah.
We hold so much, we know we're not in control, and certainly the places you found yourself, there is a moment in time where you just have to say, I don't believe I'm in control any longer.
Right.
And so how am I going to conduct myself in a worried way? Am I just going to surrender? It's very Catholic.
Right, it is. I mean, it is. But it's weird. I mean, I literally, in just about every situation I've ever been in, I have thought of you. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we spend a lot of time together, even though I've never really actually physically met you. Obviously, toxicology reports now have come out, and we know basically what happened. Did you know she was going through those struggles? Was she going through those struggles back in the bodyguard days?
Not that I knew of, no. And a couple times there's some people that really love Whitney, and a couple times during the last 7, 8 years asked me to, would I write her a letter? And, again, it's so odd. I mean, listen, I come exactly from where you come from. I know I have this level of celebrity and fame, international, national, whatever you want to refer to it. But it's a pretty surreal thing to think sometimes that you're in the middle of another famous person's life, and you think to yourself, how the hell did I get famous? It's like, what is this, some weird club that we're in?
Right.
And so when someone says, would you write someone a letter who is having trouble? And I did. There was 2 occasions, but I elected to let Whitney have her life, after the bodyguard, and she would always be close to me. She would always be somebody I appreciated. And I saw pretty much what everybody else saw. But when someone asked me to write a letter, I I did. I don't know if those letters were ever read.
Hi, Kevin. Field of Dreams is one of my favorite films.
That's a great movie.
Every time my husband and I watch it, whenever you get to the scene where you say, "Dad, you want to have a catch?" my 6'3", 240-pound tough guy husband turns into a mass of quivering jelly.
I'm sure he's thrilled about you saying that right now on TV.
I'm sure he
Right.
is. So my question is actually two parts. Number one, did you expect that sort of a reaction from men when you made that scene? And number two, what movie makes you cry like a baby?
Wow, good questions. Excellent.
You know, I think, you know, Field of Dreams is kind of maybe our generation's Wonderful Life. And that whole movie, even though it seems like a sweet movie, it really had to ride a razor's edge, because at any point in time the movie could have been thought of as being kind of goofy, right? If we would have fallen off, you know. So the simple movie really rode a razor's edge, and the movie was built entirely to get to that line that turned your man into a little mud puddle. You know, movies. I remember Brian's song made me cry when I was a kid. I thought, why do the good guys go? But you know, movies can do that to me. They can get to me a little bit.
We got so many people who want to ask questions.
Kevin, you already mentioned your daughter Annie. I remember reading about Annie, Lily, and Joe. I think your oldest, they were in some of your movies early on. I'm wondering, what are they doing now, and do you want the youngest ones to follow you into the business?
Well, my three littlest ones, they play for a job. They play every day, really hard. They take no breaks, and they don't ask for overtime. They just play. But my oldest daughter, Annie, works with me and with my environmental company that's about oil and water, about the preservation of the oceans. Lily, my middle daughter, she sings with me. She has her own band, but I grab her when I can. We're on a tour right now coming up with the East Coast, so I snatched her out of Providence. I said, "You're singing with me," and she sang last night at the winery with me, and she'll be on the bus with me as we go north. And so I'm able to keep those two pretty close to me. And my son works at a recording company, and he's a musician. So they're just trying to make their way. And again, the three littlest ones they're just trying really hard every day.
Hi, Kevin. I too have a baseball question. Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, For the Love of the Game, I loved all of them. What did you play baseball in a previous life, and what is your favorite team?
Well, listen, I think like the Beach Boys, you got to be true to your school. I'm from Los Angeles, so I root for the Dodgers. I played baseball like listen, I wanted to be close to my dad. My dad played baseball. I remember when we would go to play in Compton, we would go out to this field, and I remember looking up at him because he was like the strongest guy in the world. I mean, he was as handsome as Paul Newman. I'm telling you, my dad. And but I would make him put on the metal cleats as we would walk through the school to get to the field, because I love that click sound. And so I'd say, "Dad, put the cleats on. I want to hear that sound." And so, you know, I grew up playing it with broken bats, putting nails in the handle, the black tape, because we didn't have that kind of money. I mean, if I lost my basketball, it was lost. We were never poor. We always had everything that we wanted, but we only had one of everything. I had one set of clothes I went to church in. I had my school pants and the tennis shoes I wore. I also wore in the game. So the first time I ever saw a kid have another pair of sneakers that were for the basketball game, not just what he wore, I thought, man, this guy's got some dough. I mean, who's got two pair? I mean, you don't even wear them that much.
Right.
You know.
Who's your favorite team?
I live in Tampa, so Yankees for spring training and Rays during regular season.
I had met Kevin Costner maybe once or
twice, but just in passing, sort of shake hands somewhere. And I interviewed him once by satellite during the BP oil spill. He was working on some technology to separate oil from water. But that was really the first time I sat down and talked with him, and I found him really fascinating, and I liked him. I found him really, the audience really liked him. He was great with the audience. So it's interesting, a lot of times with movie stars, there are people who, they don't necessarily know how to interact with an audience. You would think, there are movies that are very outgoing, but sometimes audiences actually kind of, I don't know if it's intimidate big stars, like movie stars, but it's not what they're used to working with. They're used to, just focusing on a small camera, and there's an intimacy with movie making that on a stage doesn't exist. So, but Kevin Costner was great with the audience. I mean, he kind of owned the stage and really was interacting with the audience, and it was a real pleasure to talk to him. We went longer than we thought we were going to go, and we did an extra component of the web, just because I was enjoying talking with him so much.